You do not walk into a room, you land in it. There is a weight that some men carry when they step through a door, the kind of weight that makes heads turn without a single word being spoken. Glasses stop clinking. Side conversations fade out. Eyes shift. Not because the man demanded attention, but because something in the room felt it before anyone could explain it. That is not charisma. That is not looks. That is not money. That is presence. And presence is built, not born. Niccolo Machiavelli did not sit down and write The Prince as a bedtime story. He wrote it as a blueprint, cold, sharp, and brutally honest, for men who were done playing small and ready to move through this world with real intention and real power. Today, we are going to break that blueprint down into 4 pillars that will completely change the way you carry yourself, your mind, your mouth, your moves, and your money. Master all 4, and you become something this world rarely sees anymore. A man who cannot be rattled, cannot be used, and absolutely cannot be ignored. Drop "I am ready to build" in the comments right now. And if this kind of content speaks to you, hit that subscribe button, because what we build on this channel will change the way you see yourself and the world around you. Let's get into it. Control your mind, the kingdom inside you. Before you own anything in this world, a business, a reputation, a legacy, you have to own the 6 inches between your ears. That is the real throne room. Not a corner office, not a big house, not a title on a business card. Your mind is where your entire kingdom either gets built or quietly burns down. And most men have already lost that room without even knowing it. How? They handed it over, piece by piece, to social media, to other people's opinions, to the constant, exhausting need to be liked, accepted, and understood by people who have not built a single thing worth respecting. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He understood that the most dangerous war a man will ever fight is not with an enemy outside him. It is with the chaos inside him. Every time you react with emotion instead of thinking clearly, you are handing your power away. Every time someone's words stay in your head for days, living rent-free, pulling you off course, you are losing the war that actually matters. A king does not ask, "How does this make me feel?" A king asks, "What is the smartest move here?" The ancient Stoics called it the inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that no person, no setback, no failure could break into unless you opened the gate. Machiavelli called it disciplined will. The ability to stay sharp and calculated when the whole world is demanding that you panic. You need both. Train your mind the way a soldier trains his body. With repetition, with discipline, with the understanding that a soft mind will cost you everything a strong one could have protected. Guard that room. Lock the gate. Let only clarity, strategy, and purpose live inside it. Drop "My mind is my empire" in the comments if this is already hitting home. Control your mouth. Silence is your sharpest weapon. Here is something most men will never truly understand. The most powerful thing you can say in many situations is absolutely nothing. Not because you have no answer, not because you are weak, but because you are disciplined enough to understand that silence communicates something words simply cannot. Most men cannot handle silence. The moment a pause enters a conversation, they rush to fill it. They over-explain. They overshare. They justify decisions nobody asked them to justify. They defend themselves to people who have already made up their minds. And that habit, that nervous, desperate need to keep talking, has quietly destroyed more men than any visible enemy ever could. Machiavelli put it plainly. A man who speaks too much shows too much. Every extra sentence is a card you did not need to place on the table. Every opinion volunteered unnecessarily is a window you opened into your strategy. Here is the uncomfortable truth most men avoid. Nobody respects a man who constantly needs to be understood. They respect a man who does not seem to need it at all. Kings do not explain their vision to people who cannot see it. They do not debate their value with people who have no ability to measure it. They do not argue in public because the people watching cannot always tell the difference between the fool and the man arguing with him. Your mouth should open only when what comes out of it builds something, moves something forward, or cuts through something that needs cutting. Everything else is noise, and kings do not make noise. They make moves. Your words are your crown. Guard them the way a fortress guards its gates. Comment, "Silence is my weapon," if you just felt that shift in your thinking. Control your moves, never let them see you coming. A king never moves by accident. Every step is thought through. Every decision is deliberate. Every action is the result of a mind that has already played the situation forward, 3, 4, 5 moves ahead, while everyone around him is still catching up to what just happened. This is what Machiavellian strategy actually means. Not cruelty, not manipulation for entertainment, but the disciplined art of moving through the world with such precision that your opponents are always behind you and your allies are always protected. Most men are reactive. Something happens and they move immediately, emotionally impulsively, without thinking about consequences. But here is what the truly strategic man always asks first. Who benefits from my reaction right now? Because most chaos is not accidental. Most drama is not random. Provocations are often designed, consciously or not, to pull you down from your position and drag you to a level where you are easier to handle, easier to dismiss, easier to control. Every time you take that bait, you are moving in someone else's game and dancing to music you did not even realize was playing. Machiavelli wrote that a leader must be both the lion and the fox. The lion to face what stands in his way directly. The fox to navigate around what cannot be moved through force alone. Strength without strategy is just aggression. Strategy without strength is just manipulation. But when you bring both together, the patience of a man who has already mapped the room before he walked into it, and the resolve to act decisively when the moment demands it, you become something unpredictable. And unpredictability, in the language of real power, is one of the most valuable things a man can possess. When people cannot predict you, they cannot prepare for you. When they cannot prepare for you, they cannot stop you. When they cannot stop you, they respect you. Move with intention. Move in silence. Move only when the move serves your vision. Comment, "I move in silence. I arrive in power," if that landed where it was supposed to. Control your money. Wealth is your armor. Now let us talk about something that most people make emotional, but a king makes strategic. Money. Money is not just numbers in an account. Money is language. It is the language of options, of freedom, of leverage. And a man who does not speak that language fluently is not truly free, no matter how confident he looks. Most men were never taught to see money the right way. They were taught to see it as a reward for being obedient. Show up, work hard, follow instructions, collect the check. And somewhere in that loop, they lost the one thing money is supposed to protect, their sovereignty. Machiavelli would say it simply. A man who depends on others for his survival can never make a truly free decision. Every choice he makes is shadowed by one quiet, paralyzing question. Can I afford to? That question is a chain. A king builds his money the way he builds his kingdom. With structure, with patience, with a long-term vision that refuses to be distracted by short-term pleasure. He does not spend to look successful. He does not buy things to fill empty spaces inside himself. He does not confuse the performance of wealth with the position of wealth, because one fades when the camera turns off and the other remains when everything gets difficult. Every dollar saved is a soldier in your army. Every investment made is a fortress built on new ground. Every unnecessary expense removed is a weakness eliminated from your armor. Study money the way a general studies terrain, patiently, emotionally detached, looking for patterns and positioning yourself where the flow already goes. Build multiple streams of income, because a king never lets a single river carry his entire kingdom. Live with discipline, not out of fear, but because the man who controls his spending controls his future, and the man who controls his future answers to no one. no boss who underpays him, no system designed to keep him stuck, no situation that uses financial pressure as a form of control. A financially free man is a dangerous man, dangerous to every structure that profits from his dependency. Build that danger. Protect it. Grow it. Because your money is not just security. It is your ability to walk away when something dishonors you. It is your strength when the world tries to pressure you. It is the quiet crown that reminds the room exactly who it is dealing with. Comment, "My wealth is my weapon," if this section just shifted something in you. The power of isolation kings build in the dark. There is going to come a moment in your life, maybe it has already come, where you feel the pull to step back, to go quiet, to disappear from the noise and the socializing and the constant performance of being visible. Most men fight that pull. They call it loneliness, they call it depression. They assume something must be wrong because in a world obsessed with being seen, choosing not to be seen feels like failure. But that pull is not weakness. That pull is wisdom. Isolation is not a punishment. It is a laboratory. It is the space where a serious man strips away every distraction and finally gets honest with himself about where he is going, and what needs to be built. Machiavelli himself was forced into exile, removed from power, cast out from the city he had served for years. And what did he do with that silence? He wrote The Prince. He turned his lowest season into one of the most powerful pieces of writing on strategy the world has ever seen. That is what a king does with isolation. He does not survive it, he weaponizes it. Every man you have ever admired for his calm, his sharpness, his unshakable presence, behind that presence was a private season of isolation that nobody clapped for, nobody filmed, and nobody knew about until the results became impossible to hide. Greatness is built in the quiet, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the unglamorous, unposted, unwitnessed hours of a man alone with his purpose. Guard your solitude. Be selective about whose energy you allow near you. There is a quiet infection that spreads through people who are comfortable with average, and it does not arrive all at once. It arrives slowly, disguised as fun, as relaxation, as just hanging out. Pull back. Go quiet. Build in the dark. Let them wonder what happened to you. Let them talk. And when you return, and you will not return as the man who left. You will return as something they do not yet have a name for. Comment, "I build in silence, I rise in power," if this just gave you permission to embrace your season of quiet. Read people clearly. Never be surprised again. A king is never blindsided. Not because the world becomes predictable, not because people suddenly become honest, but because he has developed a skill that most men completely neglect, the ability to read people before they reveal themselves. Most men take people at face value. They confuse kindness with loyalty. They mistake someone being round with someone being genuinely for them. That is not trust. That is projection. And it is one of the most dangerous habits a man can carry. Machiavelli was clear on this. Most people are primarily driven by self-interest. Not all of them, not always, but enough of them, enough of the time, that a wise man never forgets this reality exists. This is not about becoming cold or paranoid. This is about becoming accurate. Watch what people do, not what they say. Words cost nothing. Behavior costs time, energy, and sacrifice. A person's consistent behavior over time will always tell you more truth than their most persuasive words ever could. Watch how people treat others who cannot do anything for them. Watch how they speak about people who are not in the room. Watch what they do when they believe nobody is paying attention. That is when the mask loosens. That is when real character becomes briefly visible, and a king sees it. Once you have truly seen someone, not who you want them to be, but who they have consistently shown themselves to be, that clarity is yours to use. Some people will earn your full trust. Most will earn your polite, professional distance. A few will earn only your awareness that they exist. Sort people with accuracy, not cruelty. Protect your inner circle with the same discipline you protect every other important part of your kingdom. Comment, I see clearly, I move wisely, if this just changed how you see someone in your life right now. Loyalty, who actually deserves a place in your kingdom? Nothing in a king's life is more costly than loyalty placed in the wrong hands. Not a failed business, not a missed opportunity, not a bad investment. Because money can be rebuilt, opportunities return to a prepared man. But time given to people who were never truly in your corner, that is gone permanently. And the painful truth most men avoid until the damage is already deep is this: not everyone close to you is loyal to you. Some people are in your life because of what you provide. Some are there because your presence reflects something they want but have not built. And the moment your season gets difficult, the moment you stop being useful to their comfort, you will see with sudden, sharp clarity exactly what the relationship was actually built on. Machiavelli separated people into two categories: those who are with you out of convenience and those who are with you out of genuine alignment. And he warned that you cannot tell the difference until the moment of real pressure arrives. So do not wait for the crisis to audit your court. Study your people before the crisis. Watch quietly. Observe patiently. Notice who tells you the truth when a lie would have been easier. Notice who shows up in your difficult seasons with the same energy they bring to your successful ones. Notice who protects your name in rooms you are not in. Those rare people deserve your fiercest loyalty in return. For everyone else, shrink the circle, raise the standard, do it without drama and without announcement. Real loyalty is not given, it is earned, through consistent, pressure-tested, unglamorous action over real time. Comment, loyalty is earned, not given, if this just made you look at your circle differently. The untouchable mindset: when they cannot break you, they fear you. There is a version of you that nothing can reach. No rejection, no failure, no public embarrassment, no season of loss. No carefully aimed criticism designed to make you doubt yourself. A version of you that absorbs every blow, every setback, every attempt to destabilize, and quietly, without performance, converts all of it into fuel. That version of you is not a fantasy, it is a construction, but it requires paying a price that most men are not willing to pay. The complete, total surrender of needing other people's approval to feel okay about yourself. We live in a world specifically designed to make you dependent on that approval. From childhood, you were taught to perform for reactions, to measure your worth by feedback, to need the nod, the praise, the recognition, just to feel legitimate. And that conditioning runs so deep that most men experience it not as a chain but as personality. But a man whose inner peace depends on outside validation is a man who can be broken from the outside. Withhold the approval, and he spirals. Land the right criticism in the right wound, and he collapses. Remove the acceptance he has been quietly performing for, and his identity shakes. But the man who has done the difficult, private work of building his self-worth from the inside out, he cannot be reached by any of those weapons, because those weapons only work on men who need something from the people holding them. And this man needs nothing from you, not your approval, not your understanding, not your permission. He has already given himself what he needs. Machiavelli's prince did not govern by being loved, he governed by being respected. And he understood that love can be withdrawn whenever the mood changes, but respect earned through consistency, composure, and quiet refusal to be rattled is far harder to take away. When you stop reacting to provocations, people grow uneasy. When you stop explaining yourself to critics, they grow confused. When you stop chasing validation from people who were never genuinely for you, they become irrelevant. And when you reach that place, that still, clear, sovereign place, where your own honest assessment of yourself carries more weight than anyone else's opinion, something changes. People feel it before they can name it. They sense the absence of desperation in your presence. They detect the stillness of a man who is not performing, not proving, not seeking. And that stillness triggers something ancient in the human mind. It triggers respect. What makes a man truly untouchable is not wealth, not status, not physical dominance. It is the unshakable, internally anchored knowledge of exactly who he is, and the absolute refusal to become anything less, regardless of what the world demands, offers, threatens, or removes. Become that man, not when things calm down, not when the circumstances are perfect. Now, right in the middle of whatever you are navigating, decide today that you are no longer available to be broken. Comment, you cannot break what was built in fire, because if this just shifted something real in how you see yourself, that shift is the foundation everything else stands on. Now go build your kingdom. You have reached the end of this breakdown. But understand, this is not a conclusion. This is a beginning. Everything covered here, the 4 pillars of mind, mouth, moves, and money, the power of isolation, the art of reading people, the code of loyalty, the untouchable mindset. None of it means a single thing until you carry it out of this moment and forge it into daily action. Machiavelli did not write for men who nod and scroll on. He wrote for men who apply. Knowledge that sits still is just entertainment. Kings are not entertained. They are transformed. The world will not clear a path for your kingdom. It never has, and it never will. You will have to claim your ground, brick by brick, decision by decision, in silence, with discipline, and without waiting for anyone's permission. The throne was never going to be handed to you. It was always going to be built by you. So go build it. Drop "I am the king" in the comments as your declaration, not just to this channel, but to yourself. And if this content forged something real in you today, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because what comes next will take everything even deeper. Your kingdom starts now.